The following production is rated S for satire. We are not professionals, nor are we clinically depressed. We do, however, suffer from long bouts of indecision and stagnation. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Take That Depression. I'm Spencer, and as you know, this is Kyler.
Hello.
Welcome, Kyler. How's your week been going so far?
Good. We are floating off the high of just recording with Steve. We're doing another double recording this week. So that was a lot of fun. And again, feel free to check him out at Boozy Bee Brewing, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. But that's where I'm floating off that high still, so I'm very excited to record again.
I'm also very excited to record. That was a very good episode, and I cannot wait to not only have our viewers listen to it, but I can't wait to listen to it.
Yeah, it was really informative, and because I've wanted to kind of get into what we were talking about then. So to know that it's not as intimidating as it may look like on the surface, I'm very excited for that. But what are we covering this week, Spencer?
Today's topic, I'm not sure if you've heard of it or not. It's called the Sad Clown Paradox.
I have not.
So, what is the Sad Clown Paradox? The Sad Clown Paradox describes the phenomenon of funny people using humor to mask or cope with their inner pain, anxiety, or depression. It highlights the contrast between a person's joyful, humorous public persona and then their very private and often melancholic emotional state. With that being said, this is probably going to lead into a more darker episode of Take That Depression, so a little bit of a trigger warning there. I couldn't find anything to give me an exact date of where this paradox started, but I found that the concept has deep roots in both art, literature, and psychology.
Interesting.
In 1862, Polish artist Jan Matejko painted Stanchek. Stanchek was a famous Polish jester who lived approximately between 1480 and 1560, and he served 3 different Polish kings. He was known for his sharp wit, intelligence, and ability to deliver political commentary through satire during the Polish Renaissance. I'm not going to go too much in depth into the painting, but there's a YouTube video I found by a guy named Sean Grenier. He has a channel called The Canvas, and he does a really good job at breaking down the painting and every detail that's in the painting and how it represents everything. It was definitely interesting to watch, and I definitely recommend checking that video out.
That's very interesting. I've been on a kick of watching video game deep dives, book deep dives. I am very much a kind of surface goer for those things. Whatever the video game or book, I'm not really a big reader, but whatever the video game tells me on the surface is all that I really kind of understand and intake. So I've been really into the deep dives on what the themes are and exactly what symbolism is in a thing and all that. So to have a video like that, I'm probably going to check that out. That's very cool.
It's been very interesting for me, starting to learn more, researching projects, because I'll see something like that, and then 10 videos later, I get sidetracked into this whole thing where it's I gotta save those and come back to that.
The YouTube rabbit hole.
So, some of you might have even seen the painting. I've seen it before I started researching, and I've never knew what it was. I just came across it, so it was actually interesting to see something that I have seen before on the internet and then be oh, that's that thing, that's what this is about, and now I'm researching it. So that was kind of fun to see. But the painting of Stanchek shows him alone, slouched over a chair with deep sadness and melancholy. In the background, you can see the royals in the back room partying and enjoying everything and having fun, but the main focus is him in his jester outfit, someone who should be happy and making people happy, being overcome with sadness. And so just the piece alone is really cool to see, and it makes me feel something looking at it, and now researching this topic, it was very interesting to see that. One fun fact about this is the actual full name of the painting is called Stanchik during the ball of the court queen Bona in the face of the loss of Smalsnek, Polish.
Wow. What a name. What a mouthful.
What a mouthful. Say that 10 times fast. I may have mispronounced the name. I apologize for that. If you're watching from Poland, I apologize and I will do better.
Let us know how it's actually pronounced.
Yeah, if you
If you know, definitely let us know. I'm real bad at pronouncing foreign names as well.
Another instance of the sad clown paradox was in 1892 from the opera Pagliacci. Again, that is my closest representation. If I am misreading that, apologize and let me know if I am. Pagliacci was a popular Italian opera by Ruggero Leon Cabala. There's a scene in there some of you may have heard. Again, another thing I've heard, but I've never knew where it was from until I started researching this. There's a famous scene in the opera that exemplifies the sad clown paradox. And it goes like this. A man goes to the doctor for depression, and the doctor suggests seeing the great clown Pagliacci to cheer him up. And the man then bursts into tears and reveals, "But doctor, I am Pagliacci." When I was researching this topic, that was one of the most common things and examples to come up. I don't know if you've heard it. I've heard it in several different movies, and again, it's from an opera.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a big opera person, I am not. And the third resource I found for this was in 1981 in a book called Pretend the World is Funny and Forever, a psychological analyzation of comedians, clowns, and actors.
Wow, that also is a mouthful and sounds very interesting.
By Seymour and Rhoda Fisher. In this book, they used childhood accounts and the Rorschach ink block test, if you know what that is.
I have heard of that, yeah.
Ink blobs and telling you the different shapes and all that. And the thematic apperception test to explore depressive characteristics among performers. They found that the funniest of the bunch often came from low social economic backgrounds, and they may have adopted the role of class clown in school as a mean to overcome stress and anxiety.
I feel like that's crazy relatable for so many people, and that's super interesting that that's what this is, kind of.
One thing that's been so interesting to me with this topic is I'm not clinically depressed. We've said that. I go through bouts of sadness, but I'm not going to say all, but there's a lot of things they talk about in this episode that kind of hit home for me and kind of gets me thinking a little bit.
Yeah.
And
do we need therapy?
Find out on next week's episode
of TTD.
Comparatively, the comedians had faced more adversity at a younger age compared to the actors. There were also trends in parental relationships, as comedics more often self-reported a positive relationship with their father, while mothers were more described as critical, aggressive, or non-maternal, a trend that's been reflected in studies of college-age amateur comedians. I thought that was interesting.
That's wild. You think of just people having bad childhoods is the thing, but not just one parent was good and the other one was kind of whatever.
And it was interesting to see kind of the similarities and the statistics of that.
Big statistics guy over here.
One feature of the sad clown paradox, a cyclothemic temperament. Cyclothemia is classified as a subtype of bipolar disorder, and the criteria is as followed. Periods of elevated mood and depressive symptoms for at least half the time during the last 2 years for adults and 1 year for children and teenagers. 2. Period of stable moods last only 2 months at most. 3. Symptoms create significant problems in one or more areas of life. 4. Symptoms do not meet the criteria for bipolar disorder, major depression, or mental disorder. 5. Symptoms are not caused by substance use or medical conditions. One thing that I thought was interesting that stuck out to me is they put it in a classification that doesn't meet the others.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a different tier of those.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
I also found out there's a common belief that people who do comedy in a professional setting are linked to higher intelligence level and score higher on tests of verbal intelligence than the general population. And when I read that, I immediately was like, I'd believe that. If you told me that, I'd believe that. Because some of these guys, especially stand-up comedians, you see them get heckled and their response is just on point. It's funny, so I could definitely believe that they would score higher on tests like that.
Yeah. Again, specifically verbal intelligence, that just makes so much sense.
The lives and tragic deaths of exceptionally funny and beloved entertainers have brought attention to the truth behind the sad clown archetype. First and probably most popular being the late great Robin Williams. Robin Williams was an American actor and comedian known for his improvisational skills and a wide range of characters. He's considered one of the greatest comedians of all time. In his final years, Robin Williams struggled with severe depression before his death from suicide in 2014.
Yeah, that I remember that hitting me pretty hard to hear kind of what had happened, because you don't think about it. And that's like bringing more light to this topic is, definitely necessary. You just don't think about it with the person that's always laughing.
You never, that's the farthest thing from your mind. And we're in that same age group that we grew up with him. We've never seen him without a smile. It's always been sincere, both on the camera, off the camera, interviews, anything like that. And when I heard that, I was completely blown away. That was
astonishing for sure.
Another example I have here, also late and great, Chris Farley. Now, Chris Farley was one of my favorite actors growing up. He was so funny.
Agree. He was top tier, funny guy.
Chris Farley struggled with depression and anxiety, which were interconnected with his severe addiction to drugs, alcohol, and food. His mental health issue and substance abuse were personal demons that he fought through his career, often masking them behind his high-energy public persona. Farley died in 1997 at the age of 33, a tragic outcome of his addiction. There have been some people who had on-record conversations with Chris Farley, one of them being Jim Belushi. After his brother John's fatal overdose, Belushi had multiple conversations with Farley. He warned him not to follow in his hero's footsteps, stating, "You can't follow John. You can't follow in his tracks. The guy did drugs. He's dead."
That's a pretty succinct bit to tell somebody.
There's also another quote from Adam Sandler, who was very, very good friends with Farley, and I believe they were almost best friends. In his song, Chris Farley song, Sandler recalls his friend's destructive behavior and having conversations with Farley where he was told he was going to end up dying like your hero, John Belushi.
Powerful.
The sad clown paradox is pseudoscience, and there's no concrete evidence that it's a real thing. I lean more towards it is. I've seen, not just with the examples I've given, but plenty of things in my life where some of the funniest people ended up being some of the saddest. And whether you choose to believe in it or not, it's a reminder to check in on your funny friends and be there for them when they need you.
Yeah, definitely check in on all of your friends. But especially be receptive to people that may be joking a lot of the time. Don't just assume that they're joking about sadness.
Oh, that's just how he is. That's, how Spencer is, blah, 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 blah. And then it ends up being an actual cry for help.
Yeah. Always check on your friends. every time.
This one, this topic is kind of a bummer and kind of a downer, but again, I thought it was something that it's very near and dear to me and something that I was very interested when I read it to kind of want to dive in and learn a little more about that.
Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, it's a little bit heavier than most topics that we cover here, but it's still very much on brand. Mental health is and should always be at the forefront of everybody's mind. Check on your friends, especially in today's day and age. Check on your friends.
With that being said, I think we'll move on to our next topic, which is skill check. Kyler, if you'd like to lead us into that.
For sure. Like Spencer's last week, I think I'm going to start a bit of a string here. I've got a couple of things that all are in the same kind of vein. On our Facebook post, we asked if time wasn't an issue, if money wasn't an issue, what was a skill that you would like to learn? And mine was coding. Now, I went to school for computer information systems, so I had to take a bunch of different classes on a bunch of different programming languages. And I don't know what yet. However, I'm interested in starting some kind of programming project. So my skill check this week and for the next few weeks is going to kind of be covering different languages and their uses. For me to know, like, if I decide to go with a certain type of project, what programming language I should steer myself towards. But also, if you guys are working on anything programming wise and you may not want to do the research yourself or whatever, now we'll have them here in an easy consumable format for you. So my first language, the language that I probably am the most familiar with, the language that I like working in the most, is Python. It is a super high level language, which means it's kind of the closest to how humans speak, typing things out. You can get like really into machine code if you really want to get into the weeds. Some of the first programs were literally written in ones and zeros, but this lets you like just kind of type out if this then that and those kinds of things. So it's super high level. It's super easy to kind of grasp what's going on. It's super general purpose, so it can kind of fit in anything that you're doing. However, I have heard, I don't think that it's going to matter in anything in the scale that I do, but I have heard that it is one of the least like optimized because it can do so many different things. It's not super optimized for one thing. So it's one of those kind of like jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was just thinking that.
So to keep that in mind if you're gonna work in Python, and I don't know how true that is. That was just something that like in class, and I don't know if it's better now, but in class that my professor had talked about. It also offers a wide array of libraries, which are little bits of code that are already written out for you, so you don't have to rewrite everything. The one that I know that I keep in my head is like random number generation. So you don't have to like tell the computer exactly what that means. You don't have to be like, if I say generate a random number, that means you generate a random number from 1 to infinity, unless I decide that I want a random number between 1 through 10. So you don't have to write out any of that. It's just a thing that you type in at the top of your program that loads that library into the program that already tells it that, and it knows how to do that stuff. So one thing that I've done in Python already that was fun, it led to a lot of learning. It was a lot of back and forth. But I play tabletop war games, and for one of those we were doing a story, and I wanted kind of a Borderlands-esque like random gun generator. So when we fought a boss or whatever, we could then quote unquote drop a random gun with random attachments and things like that. So I had to use that library of generate a random number from 1 through 6, and that's what kind of barrel it has. 1 through 6, and that's what kind of magazine it has on it, what kind of element it has on it, stuff like that. And I have worked in Python, so I enjoy Python a lot. However, I don't know what my project will be quite yet. So once I kind of nail down my project, I will be happy that I've done this research already, and then I can just kind of go into starting work on that project. That being said, I will have Python's website linked down below. So if you're interested in using Python at all, you can just hop over there, download it, and get in coding. There are many how-tos. I will probably also try and find if there's like a well-received how-to. Otherwise, on YouTube, there's a million videos. Stack Overflow, I covered on our TikTok. Stack Overflow is a great resource if you have any kind of programming questions at all. StackOverflow.com. When I did the TikTok, they had almost 25 million questions asked, and I'm assuming most of them answered, if not all of them. So if you come up to a problem, somebody's probably seen it, and somebody probably has an answer for you on Stack Overflow, so I'd highly recommend that. But that's my skill check. Again, it'll be kind of a series. I'm going to go through a few other programming languages over the next couple weeks, so buckle up. Spencer, what have you got for us?
This week on my skill check, I have growing an audience. Now, I believe it was episode 1, maybe episode 2, we talked about running a social media platform, but I wanted to kind of dive a little more into that in what I've been learning, and the main part behind that is growing an audience. And so I'm going to go over a couple things that helped me and that we're still learning together. First one is engagement. Commenting, responding, asking questions, keeping that form of communication going. We've been doing, if you've been following, we've been doing movie spooky season recommendations, and there's people that have been commenting on that, and it's been nice to get that engagement going, what is your favorite, and then kind of responding back and forth, keeping that conversation going. It helps people see what we're doing. The next I found was using hashtags. I hate hashtags. Ever since hashtags came out, it would always be, anytime I made them, it was very ironic, and it would always end with the last hashtag, fuck hashtags. But using hashtags makes your content easier to find. They also target your niche audience and demographic, making it more likely that the right person can find your page. And that's one thing I've been doing more of, is whenever we make a video, whether it be a funny video, something for Take That Depression, or even my personal TikTok that I make videos on and stuff like that, getting those right hashtags out there really does bring in the right audience. If you're doing a cooking video, you're not going to hashtag horror movies or wood carving or anything like that. You'd want to tag, food, cooking, kitchen, things like that draw in the right audience. The third thing I've been learning is learning the algorithm of each target platform. And as Kyler can probably touch on, that's been a learning process. One platform is not going to be the same. Each platform has its own set of times, peak posting hours, what drives up views, and things like that. So that's been kind of interesting to learn.
Yeah, it's been fun. There will be days that we do some form of content creation, either just like making a word post or a text post or making a video or whatever, and it will do 300 impressions. And then the next day we do the same kind of thing, a text post or a video in the same kind of vein, and it will do 100 impressions, or it will do 600 impressions. So it's been interesting to kind of nail that down and figure out exactly what's been pulling everybody.
Is it the topic? Is it luck? Is it timing?
Yeah, I think timing plays a bigger role than I think. The past few days, I've posted on TikTok pretty late because I've just kind of been busy with doing stuff, and then by the time that I can chill out, it's 8 o'clock at night. So then I make the TikTok then, and I post it, and it does 100 views, which is fine. That's great. I'm super stoked that we're getting any views at all. This is not me complaining. I'm talking specifically about kind of learning the algorithm and stuff like that. I'm definitely not complaining. It's a fun ride regardless. 0 views, 100 views, 1,000 views. But I did another video and I posted it at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was pretty on topic, so it might be that was the difference. But that did almost 900 views. So it's just to kind of figure out when, I think, is actually pretty important. More important than I may have initially thought. But yeah, that learning the algorithm, learning what the computer is looking for, and what it wants to see from you to start promoting you has been a wild journey, and it's been a fun ride.
I agree. It has been really fun. Going into number 4 dabbles a lot on what we just said, but be consistent. Staying on top of posting every day across all platforms, as well as responding in a timeful manner to people who are commenting and stuff. I will be the first to admit that has been a struggle at first, especially on my days off. I'm always sleeping, so I'll wake up and be like, oh shoot, I haven't posted yet, or Kyler will be like, oh, it's interesting, I haven't seen any posts today. That's interesting.
I'm rolling with an iron fist over here. You can hear it from Spencer himself.
The 5th and final one I'm looking at right now has been collaborations. Collaborating with other creators gets your name out there on 2 different channels, increasing the chances of reaching more audience or targeted audience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a fun one, and I'm actually very excited to dive more into that. Last episode, we had Steve on there, and what a fun time that was. I'm very excited to get more guests on here. Me and Kyler have talked about that a lot, and it's not just, for us, it's not just getting as many collabs as we can. We want them to be special. In a perfect world, it would be about every 10 episodes we'd get someone in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just getting random content creators on there. For us, it's about getting what we believe, things that we can align our goals and stuff with.
Yeah, I think that the point of, for us, the collaboration is not just to get our face out there. And that is the same thing if we ever become big enough for like ad things. It's not take everything. It's not if someone gives us something, we know we have to take it. It's very much, does it fit TTD? Does that align with our goals and our mission here? And if it's not, then if it doesn't, it's not for us.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. A huge content creator could reach out to us next week and be like, hey, I got 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and 200,000 followers on Instagram. Like, I want to get you guys on. But if they're just, it's a prank channel or something like that,
yeah,
that's not what we're doing here. I'm uninterested. Thank you so much for the offer, but that's not TTD. I don't want TTD to be associated with that. And yeah, so we're just trying to keep within our niche, keep this very light, very positive where we can, especially in collaborations. We want to help other creators out, and we want to hope that they help us out too.
That's very well said. That's all I got for my skill check this week.
Yeah, I think then we'll wrap up this episode. As always, we love you guys for sticking to the end. Let us know what you loved, what you hated. Let us know anything that you want us to cover in the future. Send us an email. Our email's down in the description. Like us anywhere you can. Follow us anywhere you can. If you feel like we're doing a good job, let friends and family know if you think that they would enjoy it. Always help us play the algorithm game. We're super early on right now. So that's the biggest way. If you want to help us succeed, that's the biggest way you can do. Like, comment, share the things. help us get in front of as many people as possible if you feel like we're doing a good job.
If you're a content creator and you want to reach out and maybe collab, we're open to that too. So
Definitely.
let us know what your projects are, what your passions are, what you're working on, and maybe we can work something out.
Yeah, we would love to hear from you. All lowercase, take that depression pod at gmail.com is our email address for anything, anybody. But yeah, especially content creators, if you want to reach out, if you want to see if we can make something work, I would definitely love to hear from you. We would definitely love to hear from you.
Even if you don't want to collab, we want to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you're working on.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to just kind of if you want us to kind of just give a shout out to whatever your skill is, not to shout you out in specific, but if you're working on wood carving, then yeah, maybe we can shout out and do a little skill check on wood carving or whatever. Definitely reach out. Feel free on any of our channels, anything you can message us on.
I think this episode would be a good episode to touch on why we call it Take That Depression.
Yeah.
Whether we put that at the end or the beginning, but being it's kind of a downer, I think that's the perfect door opening too.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We started off the Take That Depression, specifically the phrase, anytime that Spencer and I were at work and we were just kind of like existing and we're like, man, I did a Blue Dragon speed run. I believe I'm currently, please don't dethrone me, I'm currently the world record holder for Impossible Difficulty New Game Plus.
World record holder, Kyler.
For Blue Dragon, an Xbox 360 game. I played it as a kid. I really, really enjoyed it, and there was nobody on the leaderboard, so I was like, I can do that. I just need to submit a time, and I did that. And again, so far but that I would go to Spencer and I'm like, man, I really want to do this thing. I just don't want to kind of like do. I had the capture card. I had all the stuff I needed. I was just like, I don't really want to do it. Like, that's just, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of, like, I have to put myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
I have to actually play the game, and I have to let somebody watch me play the game to ensure that I actually played the game and I didn't cheat and all that, and I was just nervous to put myself out there. And so we started, anytime one of us had a thing like that, like, I want to do this, and then we started making excuses about it, we'd just always say to the other person, take that depression. Like, fight back against depression. Anytime either one of us came up, we're like, I don't know, it's like, no, we got to fight back against the big sad, we got to fight back against anything that, all the doubters, you just got to do it. So at work, we'd just come up to each other and be like, take that depression, I did this thing, and that's where we got the name for the podcast.
It's definitely been like an accountability button. You like any excuse for me not doing that. God, I really want to learn this thing. Take that depression. It's like, shoot, now I got to do that. So you're right.
It's my day off. I really just want to take a nap. No. Take that depression. You need to go and do it. So yeah, that is the origin of the name. And again, I think that speaks volumes in this episode specifically. This has never been about depression. It has always been about beating sadness at every turn. That's, in many cases, way easier said than done. But if you start your day, every day, making your bed, you've already done a thing. And think about what that positive momentum can do.
Call back.
So yeah, that's, again, thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate you guys. We love taking you on this journey, and we really hope that this little silly podcast on Monday mornings has helped people. I have heard from at least one person that this podcast has had a significant impact on them, and that means the world to me. I could do this for 100 more episodes, and as long as that one person still felt the same, I'm a success.
I posted on Snapchat the other day me cooking something random, and I had a buddy hit me with, yo, send me that recipe, because that's my skill check. I'm always trying to skill check cooking. And as soon as he said that, I was like, just the biggest smile on my face. Like, something as simple as that, knowing that people are listening and
Yeah.
excited to hear us, like that makes me real happy.
Yeah, we can't thank you guys enough. But we've taken up enough of your time already. I feel like this is going to be a very long episode, so we're going to rush out of here. And like we always love to say, stay safe out there.
And don't get mugged.
If you are struggling, please, please, please reach out to someone or dial 988 to get connected with someone at the National Suicide Hotline. You do not have to go it alone.